During the year, I've been given updates on the anti-mass tourism protests here in Spain. I live in the Canary Islands, and I'm trying to give an accurate view on it, And I was thinking, so far this year, I have visited 7 Spanish cities. I love Spanish cities. I think they're the most beautiful in the world. In June, I went from Asturias down to Andalusia and saw many places in between, and I never experienced any anti-tourism feeling at all. Now, I did see graffiti in malls, but I always say one person can do that. Now, I read a very interesting article this morning, and it's about the tourist situation in Galicia. People are saying it's gone crazy. So there's a lot of red flags going up there. They'll have 6% more tourists this year than they had last year. For example, in 2021, they had 4.2 million tourists. This year, they're going to have 7.5 million. That's a massive increase. An example would be the Camino de Santiago, that walk. They had 438,000 people do it last year, 26% more than pre-COVID 2019. I've been in Santiago. It's absolutely taken over by walkers. I'm not anti-walkers, but like if I was a local, I'd be pissed off because it's like basically it's just been taken over by tourists. Now the people in Galicia are complaining about disrespectful tourists, like bad parking, noisy, all that kind of thing, right? But the interesting thing about it, right, they're not talking about international tourists. They're talking about like Spanish tourists. And there's a new word. Yesterday, I was explaining to people because I saw something in the British and Irish press saying that the Spanish have a really nasty word for us called Gary, and I explained that it's not really. It's like it's just developed into a word for foreigner, right? And it depends on the context. If someone says fecking Gary, it's bad context. But 95% of the time, it's not meant disrespectfully at all. But I learned a new word. In Galicia, they have a word, and sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong, bochincos, and that basically is just a disrespectful tourist from another Spanish region, but particularly in from Madrid. We've all got names now. Excellent. So it got so bad that last week that a bar in Galicia closed down because there was too many people from Madrid going in there, right? Uh, there was another bar put up a sign over its door saying this is a Bochinko free zone. So basically, this bar is not for Spanish tourists, like it's basically saying, right? So it's just very interesting. And I've been saying this all the time, right? This is not just a Spanish problem. I was recently in Madrid, right? And I was speaking to a guy, and he said Madrid is getting too many tourists. Where was I staying? I said I'm staying in an apartment with a friend of mine. He said that could be going out for long-term rental. I asked him, now it was a very civil conversation. I asked him, does he go anywhere abroad? And he said, yeah, he goes to France. I said, where do you stay when you go away? So it was like, oh, okay. But it was a very civilized conversation. So we're all going like too many places. Like I'm going to Madrid. People from Madrid are going to Galicia, and I'm pretty sure people from Galicia, I know people from Galicia, are going to other countries. For example, right next door is Portugal. Um, 2000 last year was a record year for tourism in Portugal. 25% of all international visitors came from one country, Spain. What's the biggest problem in Portugal? The same as is happening in Spain. Uh, People renting out apartments to tourists. So the Spanish are contributing to the problem in Portugal. So we're all to blame. What's the answer? I haven't a clue.